praying the price was paid. She was a dancer, twirling on a wire, caught between a heartbeat and a funeral pie. In a city made of glass, where the shadows play for keeps, to extinguish the light while the city never sleeps. Was it love, was it greed, was it cold-blooded hate on the culture canvas vibes, where the silent of fate, the silent of fate. The stage was a kingdom, but she wanted something real, a forever kind of promise, not another business deal. Then came the suspects, circling the throne, the megastar who couldn't stand to be alone. The industry called her a stripper, and his pride began to crack. Did he save his reputation with a blade inside her back? Or the bloody all-star with a filthy reputation? He wanted what he couldn't have, a deadly fixation. Mr. Still Your Girl gotta know for the first time. Did a bruised ego lead him to the ultimate crime? But look closer at the circle, look closer at the kin. Corey, your older brother, watching the money get thin. A professional leech, protecting his meal ticket when sunshine got too close. Did he pull her from the thicket? And don't forget who got a manager, the sister, the friend. She taught Leah the Pope, but watched her own start to sin. A decade of jealousy simmering under the skin. Is the one who holds your hand, the one who lets the devil in. The final encore ended, the heels were put away. She was walking to a sunset at the end of the day. T.I. was on the speakers, dead and gone was the track. When the lights went out in the dressing room and the world turned black. 6 times the steel pierced, a rhythm sharp and hot. She emptied out the clip, and the only soul she shot. The lights flickered on, she saw the killer's face, a smile in the shadows, leaving not a single trace. The dancer is down, the blood is on the floor. An erotic murder mystery, who's knocking at the door? Was it the lover, the brother, the manager, the friend? Subscribe to the Culture Canvas Vibes to see how the story ends. The Dancer by TLJ, the truth is in the rhythm. Who killed Sunshine? I see you.
Episode 1: The Aftermath. The neon lights of the velvet rope were usually blinding, a testament to the Vegas Strip's relentless artificial glare. Tonight, however, the blue and red strobe of emergency vehicles painted the club's facade in a grim caricature of its usual excess. A yellow line of "Crime Scene Do Not Cross" tape stretched across the entrance, the first sign that the party was officially over. A black sleek SUV rolled to a stop, its tires screeching slightly against the damp asphalt. The driver's door swung open, and Detective Maya Sterling stepped out, the sharp click of her heels a rhythmic counterpoint to the distant wail of sirens. Sterling was a woman of steel and intuition, with years of experience etched into the lines around her eyes, yet her gaze remained piercing, unyielding. Her dark skin, the color of rich espresso, was a stark contrast to the shimmering silver top she wore beneath her tailored blazer. A subtle glitter, a remnant of a rare night out, caught the fleeting glow of the sirens. Her partner, Detective David Chan, a man whose quiet competence often mirrored her own, emerged from the passenger side, already unlimbering his notebook. "What have we got, Sterling?" he asked, his voice low, measured. Sterling surveyed the chaotic scene, police officers managing the curious crowd, paramedics treating a few hysterical dancers, and club manager Val Tyler, her eyes red-rimmed and smudged with mascara, shouting instructions to a harried security guard. "A celebrity exotic dancer, Leah Sunshine Jackson," Sterling replied, her gaze settling on the sprawling silhouette of the club, stabbed to death in her dressing room. Chin's eyebrows raised. "Sunshine? The one with the makeup line and the lingerie empire?" "The very same," Sterling confirmed, a flicker of regret crossing her face. Seems someone wasn't a fan of her light. They navigated the crowd, their badges glinting in the uncertain light, and slipped beneath the yellow tape. The air inside the club was heavy, thick with the scent of stale perfume, expensive cologne, and the metallic tang of something far more sinister. The main stage, usually the center of attention, was now a desolate spectacle, the pole standing as a silent witness to a performance that would never be repeated. They followed the trail of police tape to the dressing rooms, the narrow hallway choked with detectives, forensic technicians, and a few subdued dancers. Sterling pushed open the door to Sunshine's dressing room, a gasp escaping her lips despite herself. The room was a jarring juxtaposition of glamour and gore. Sequined outfits lay scattered across the floor, their sparkle muted by pools of deep crimson. The scent of vanilla and lavender, Sunshine's signature fragrance, warred with the copper aroma of blood. And there, in the center of the room, lay Sunshine, her vibrant silk robe stained a heartbreaking red, a knife protruding from her back. Her hand, even in death, gripped a gun, the empty clip a silent testament to her final desperate defense. Sterling felt a familiar ache in her chest, a mixture of anger and sorrow that always accompanied a scene like this. She moved closer, her gaze sweeping over the intricate details of the room, looking for clues, for whispers of the assailant's presence. "Empty clip," she muttered, her eyes narrowing. "She didn't go down without a fight. She was expecting trouble," Chen added, stepping carefully around a collection of makeup brushes stained with blood. A forensic technician was meticulously processing the scene, bagging evidence, photographing the body from every conceivable angle. "We found these shell casings," the technician said, pointing to a cluster of small brass cylinders near the doorway. "Matches the caliber of her gun." "And the knife?" Sterling asked, her gaze fixed on the weapon embedded in Sunshine's back. "Standard kitchen knife," the technician replied. "Nothing too unusual about it, except for where it ended up." Sterling moved to Sunshine's makeup table, the mirrored surface reflecting the grim scene behind her. She picked up a framed photograph of Sunshine, her smile radiant, her eyes sparkling with life. She turned the photograph over, searching for an inscription, a clue, anything that might shed light on who might have wanted her dead. There was nothing, only the silence that had replaced the music. "Let's talk to the witnesses," Sterling said, her voice taut with determination. "Start with the club manager, Val Tyler. She was close to Sunshine, maybe she knows something." As they made their way back through the crowd, Sterling couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than just a random act of violence. This was personal, driven by a deep-seated resentment, a jealousy that had finally bubbled over into murder. And as she looked around at the faces of the people who had known Sunshine, she wondered which one of them was hiding a killer's heart beneath a mask of grief. "This road is going to be long," she whispered to herself, the lyrics of T.I.'s song echoing in her mind. "But I'm going to find the way back home, to the truth." Detective Sterling didn't just walk into a room. She took ownership of it. She stood over the body of Leah Jackson, her eyes tracing the arc of the struggle. "Empty clip," Sterling murmured, her voice a low alto that commanded the attention of every tech in the room. "Our girl went out swinging. She wasn't just a victim. She was a soldier." She turned to Chan, her expression unreadable behind a mask of professional detachment. "Get the perimeter secure. I want the names of every high roller in the VIP lounge, every dancer on the clock, and I want the CCTV from the back hallway 5 minutes ago. If the power went out, I want to know if it was a surge or a snip." Sterling stepped back into the hallway, where the muffled bass of the club still vibrated through the floorboards, a ghostly reminder of the life that had just been snuffed out. She spotted Val Tyler sitting on a velvet ottoman, her head in her hands. "The interview, Val Tyler." Sterling approached, her shadow falling over the distraught manager. "Miss Tyler? I'm Detective Sterling. I'm truly sorry for your loss." Val looked up, her eyes bloodshot, mascara tracking jagged black lines down her cheeks. "It doesn't feel real. We were supposed to be celebrating. This was her last night." "Last nights are usually the most dangerous," Sterling said, her tone softening just enough to invite a confession. "You two go back a long way. Detroit, right? Wayne State." Val stiffened slightly, a detail Sterling filed away instantly. "Yes. I brought her into this. I managed every cent, every contract. I made her Sunshine. And sometimes the sun gets too hot to stand next to," Sterling countered smoothly. "The power went out in her room specifically. That's a targeted move, Val. Who knew the layout of this club well enough to hit the breakers and find her in the dark?" Val's lip quivered. "Everyone. Bryson. His brother Corey is always lurking. And Miguel, that man is a predator. He's been circling her for months like a shark." The confrontation. The Jones brothers. Sterling moved to the VIP lounge, where Bryson and Corey Jones were being held. Bryson looked like a man whose world had collapsed, or a man terrified of the headlines. Corey, however, was pacing like a caged animal, checking his gold watch every 30 seconds. "Mr. Jones," Sterling addressed Bryson, ignoring Corey for a moment. You were planning on marrying her. Why didn't you protect her? Bryson's head snapped up. I loved her. I was out front waiting for her encore. I didn't know. You didn't know the woman you loved was being butchered 20 feet away? Sterling stepped into his personal space, her presence imposing. Or were you worried that a stripper wife would kill your chances at that Oscar bait biopic you just signed for? That's enough. Corey interjected, stepping between them. My brother is grieving. This is a tragedy, not a press conference. Sterling turned her gaze to Corey, her eyes narrowing. And you? You look like a man who just lost his meal ticket. If Leah took Bryson away to a quiet life, who was going to pay for those designer loafers, Corey? You've got more motive than anyone in this building to keep Bryson single and ready to mingle. Corey opened his mouth to retort, but the words died in his throat under Sterling's icy stare. The wild card, Miguel Martinez. Finally, Sterling found Miguel Martinez leaning against the bar, a glass of amber liquid in his hand. He looked remarkably calm for a man whose best friend's girl had just been murdered. Mr. Steele, your girl, Sterling said, leaning against the bar beside him. You've got a reputation, Miguel. I hear you don't like being told no. Miguel smirked, though it didn't reach his emerald eyes. I'm an all-star detective. I'm used to winning, but I didn't kill her. I wanted her in my bed, not in a casket. Obsession is a hell of a drug, Sterling remarked, glancing at his hands. You're an athlete. Fast, precise, strong. You could have slipped in and out of that room before the backup generators even kicked in. Miguel set his glass down hard. Check the cameras, detective. I was at the bar. The cameras that went dark during the power cut? Sterling smiled, a sharp, dangerous expression. Don't worry, Miguel. I'm very good at seeing in the dark. Sterling walked back toward the crime scene, her mind spinning. For suspects. For motives. One dead queen. She looked at the blood on her own shoe and sighed. Chun, she barked. Get me the forensics on that knife. And I want to know exactly where Bryson's brother was when the lights went out. Someone is lying, and in this city, lies are the only thing cheaper than the glitter. Sterling walked back into Sunshine's dressing room. The forensic team was beginning to lift the body, the heavy plastic of the shroud crinkling, a clinical sound that felt like an insult to the woman who had lived in silk and sequins. Sterling knelt by the vanity, ignoring the blood and focusing on the small things. Beneath the edge of the plush rug, tucked away as if kicked there during the struggle, was a small black velvet box. She snapped it open with a gloved hand. Inside sat a heavy platinum band, encrusted with black diamonds. It wasn't an engagement ring, it was too masculine for Sunshine. It was a man's ring. Chun, get in here, she called out. As Chun stepped in, Sterling held up the box. Val said Bryson was waiting for an encore to propose. But if this was his, why was it under the rug in here? And why black diamonds? Miguel, Chun whispered, realizing the connection. The black diamond is Miguel Martinez's nickname in the league. He wears them on his jersey, his ears, his cars. The cracked mirror. Sterling didn't go back to Miguel. Not yet. Instead, she went to the one person who had been silent through the entire ordeal, the lead dancer who had been Sunshine's understudy, a girl named Raven who was currently shivering in a corner of the stage. Raven, Sterling said, her voice surprisingly gentle. She sat on the edge of a prop chair. The lights went out. You were in the wings. What did you hear? Raven looked up, her eyes wide and glassy. I heard the gunshots. 3 of them. But there was something else, detective. Before the shots, I heard Sunshine laugh. Sterling froze. She laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh, Raven whispered. It was like she finally caught someone in a lie. She said, I knew it was you. I always knew. And then the lights died. Then the screaming started. Sterling stood up, the pieces of the puzzle shifting behind her eyes. The knife was a kitchen blade, impulsive, messy. The power cut was professional, calculated, cold. 2 different styles. One killer or a partnership gone wrong. She looked toward the exit, where Val Tyler was watching her from the shadows of the bar. Val wasn't crying anymore. She was watching Sterling with the cold, analytical gaze of a woman who had spent a lifetime calculating the cost of Sunshine. The road back home, Sterling muttered. adjusting her blazer and feeling the weight of the silver glitter on her skin. It's getting darker by the minute.